Hello, everybody. Welcome back to BareRose Garage. It's another Sunday. It's the spring ahead Sunday, as a matter of fact. Excuse me. Uh, my internet connection is still a little shaky-ish, so we'll just keep this going as long as we possibly can. But in the meantime, who all we got in here? Looks like we got Unfinished Project up. It just slid right in there. Good to see you, man. And Justin Hill, the guy that's just a little bit north of me. What's going on, man? Good to see you. Jim's, if it ain't broke, fix it. Good stuff that he's got going on. Go check him out. He's doing a lot of work on guitars out in his little shed. Pretty cool stuff. He's also got another little MG kind of hiding in the corner there. You got to pay attention and look quick. And of course, our friendly Kiwi Dean. What's going on? The guy that springs ahead of us all the time. Philip the Third. What's going on down there in Florida? I see you're moving right along on that mystery small block. Well, it's probably a 350. And Mohawk 62. What's going on, man? Boy, I'll tell you what. That live with Buck Does It last night. Oh, Lord, my side still hurt. I was laughing so daggum hard. That was a great live you guys had going on there. Oh, man. And Junkyard D, he slid on in there too. Good to see you. Like I was saying, that was a heck of a good live last night. And if you guys are all wondering, Buck Does his lives every Saturday. I used to do mine right after his, but I had to move over to Sunday. But Buck's still doing them over there. And if you caught it last night, it was just a barrel of laughs. Bruce Coltingen, what's going on? Join the Tunnel Ram Mafia. Hey, is that a little tidbit of something you got coming up? Great to see you, man. 354 bolt. I'm so happy. Yep, that's a pretty good looking one too. Like you're showing in the video there, it's pretty clean down there on the inside. Well, I'll be dadgum. Look at here. The guy I owe a lot of my channel success to. I mean, pert near 90% of it. Mr. Buzz at Roadkill Customs. What is going on? There you are, right there. I'm in the shop on the lathe turning some knobs, but I'll be listening in. Sweet. All you guys go check out Buzz here. He does all kinds of custom work, but he's kind of doing a whole bunch of custom shift knobs. Just fantastic stuff. And I'll tell you what, he is one of the best guys on all of YouTube. Great to see you again. See, there we go. Yeah, Buzz sponsored the first No Name Nationals Roadkill Customs there. And he kind of gave us all a whole bunch of tidbits and stuff on how to get your channel get up and moving, and kind of fine tuning it so the algorithm can find you. And like I said, when he was speaking, when I was first starting out like that, like a lot of you guys are now, my brain went into sponge mode and I absorbed as much of that as I possibly could. And I'll be dadgum for all of it didn't work. Miss Colleen Tebow, I seen you slid in there with the half pint. Great to see you. Anyway, like any other Sunday live, this one's just kind of wide open. If you want, just kind of click that little link up there and you can hop on in if you want. Sure beats the heck out of all that typing. especially if your fingers are like mine, all broken and twisted up. Or if you're on the phone, sometimes that helps too, because boy, trying to do these lives on a phone, yeah, that's a lot of fun. The screen is too dang tiny and my fingers are too dang big. Nothing new to report here. I do have a Pontiac Grand Prix that I'll be working on, but that is going slow. There ain't nothing wrong with taking your time on your projects. In fact, that was kind of an idea I had for a video today. Is the the good thing about taking your time with projects. I see time and time again, people, I don't know, they get it into their head that they're on the clock, you know, trying to beat flat rate when they're doing this kind of stuff. And more mistakes than anything get made when you're moving too fast. So there ain't nothing wrong with taking your time on your project. And I'm not saying that as an excuse to why I haven't been working on mine. The reason I haven't been working on mine is because I just flat lazy. And there he is. Sugar slid in here, and I stuck him right up on the screen. What's going on? That's a little inside joke from last night's live with Buck Does It. I highly recommend those of you who didn't catch it, go back and catch it on the rewatch. After he got done doing his channel reviews and stuff, and then everything just kind of went for free for all. It got good. Like, oh Lord, my side still hurt from laughing. True. I like to take my time and get it right. That's the best thing you can do. In any part of it, engine building, especially fabrication. And taking stuff apart. That's a part that a lot of people skip. They get in a hurry, big old hurry to take stuff apart. Oh Lord. I learned a long time ago that it is best to use nothing but hand tools when you're taking an engine apart, because then it forces you to slow down and you can actually feel stuff. It gives you clues on other places you're going to have to look, especially on a mystery engine that's never fired. No, get that later. Get going here. But like I said, I got the link up there if anybody wants to chime on in. And as you can see here from my little banner here, the little ticket taker going along, everybody who hasn't seen Andy Woods at Unity Motorsports Garage, latest video, he goes over to Edelbrock, where they actually assemble all the carburetors and throttle bodies and stuff like that. They don't actually build them there, but they assemble them all. Go check out his video where he kind of tours through all of that. I'll tell you what, though, Edelbrock has really stepped up to the plate, and they're going to knock it clear out of the park on this new Edelbrock BareRose 41. It's the Holly looking carburetor that Edelbrock really went above and beyond on it. The build quality is amazing on them. And yeah, just the amount of time they take making sure that they're perfect when they hit the box and hit the shelf or hit the mailbox for you. Here real soon, I'll be able to put my hands on one physically too. It's not for me, but it's for Landon Custom Classics. He's done picked one up that we're just waiting on coming. And as soon as he gets it here, we'll do a video on it and look it all over too. And for the price, good Lord, you can't beat it. I think they're around $800 for that one. And for a Holly that's, you know, the same category as them, yeah, they're over $1,000. So, you know, the Edelbrock's already got everything done to it. And, well, when you watch Andy's video, it'll sell you on the quality of them. The Grand Prix is a 98 GTP, the supercharged one. Nice car, and I'm holding back on the videos of the work I've been doing just because it's going slow. Parts have been hard to find. Yeah, those they didn't offer them a whole lot, and they are out there. I had a chance to get one, and I kicked myself in the butt for not doing it. But I was going to just pull the cradle out of it. The car was, pretty rough. So I was just going to pull the cradle, the transmission, the engine, everything, the wire and harness, the whole shebang. And I was actually kind of, well, the same guy that's got it has got a Bradley GT. And I was thinking seriously taking that Grand Prix and mounting the cradle in the back. Make a little Bradley GT with a V6 supercharger. But I drug my feet too long, and the guy gave it to his granddaughter. So it still went to a good place. JB's Little Shop. What's going on, my friend? You got Lars tied up somewhere in there? Or are you keeping him busy? Shugu for the win. Mofo Driver. Great to see you, man. The supercharged 3800 or 3.8 is as much fun as my old 73 455. There's something about that straight off idle torque bang of a supercharger or a big block Pontiac. That's where a supercharger just shines. It's just right off idle. Like just you nail the throttle, you got boost now. You don't have to wait for them turbos to spool up. And they do. They feel like you got a V8 because you still got that bottom torque. Whereas these little bitty engines, turbocharged engines, well, they got to hit about $4 or $5 grand before they start coming alive. Again, because it's the only turbo I have that runs, the wife's little Ford Edge, you know, it's only got a little bitty little, it's a 2.3, 2300 with the turbocharger in it. And it'll scoot. It gets right up and jumps down the road. But if you click the little button so you got the tack there, yeah, that little motor's spinning tight to get you that. But it will. Once it boosts up like that, she jumps. But it ain't nothing like a supercharger. And JB knows about that too, because he's the only guy I know of that put a supercharger, an actual Roots blower supercharger on a 2.8 V6. And that is just one cool project, the trash truck, because of that. The 2.8 V6, oof, I used to just pull them out and throw them away. Well, as long as they were dead, that is. I don't throw anything away that's still alive. If I can get it to keep running on 4 cylinders, I'll just keep it running on 4. Until she finally dies. And then, yeah. I'll send pictures if you'll tell me where to send them. In my about page my about section in my homepage, I got my email in there. Just click that little "I'm not a robot" button, and it'll show you up my email address and send me an email. Or it's justkim73@yahoo.com. JUSKIM73@yahoo.com. If I say it on here, maybe the spammers can't get a hold of it. Robot, well, yeah, they're getting tricky. They're getting to where they can recognize the voice even. Ah, well. That email file I've had for, since Yahoo was first come out, I think. It's the one I give out to anybody and everybody. That's a little bit of channel advice I got for everybody out there that's just wanting to start a channel. Keep your email address that's linked to your channel separate. Don't give that one out. Always create another account, like I did with my Yahoo email. There's plenty of others out there. There's Gmail, all of those email providers. Pick one of those and use that for your any kind of stuff you want to give out to anybody, especially like in your about page. As you start getting into this YouTube stuff a little more, companies are going to start reaching out to you, wanting you to advertise their stuff or partnership programs and stuff like that. You never want to give out your email address that's linked to your channel. That's how they're hacking channels. So it's an easy way to protect yourself by just keeping your Gmail account, because it's all Gmail, but the one that's actually linked to your channel, save that one just for that. Don't give it out to people. Just leave it at that as your channel. That way, if they hack your whatever email account, they can't get your channel, if that makes sense. Could you imagine supercharging a 455? That would be something, and that is something. If you could afford the the intake for them. Good night, Pontiac parts have really come up. They were expensive to begin with, but they've really come up. Have no fear, the Dougster's here. Great to see you, Doug. Yeah, and any of the 455s, Oldsmobile, Buick, all the boppers. Yeah. Well, they're built for torque to begin with. So you throw a supercharger on top of it, you're just doubling the torque. Well, maybe not doubling it, but you get what I mean. Let's see, get back up here. W350. I've never had a W350. I think about it. Yeah, I never have. The smaller ones, half ton. Not very many of them, though. But I am a robot. QB's Garage. What's going on? Great to see you, man. That was a pretty good video you had out with all of the shop manuals and stuff. I got a pretty good sized collection of them too. The funny thing is we got a whole bunch of Chiltons too. The old Chiltons, you know, that they're not the best manuals, but they do get the job done. But the secret was we hardly paid for any of those. Well, back in the day when you bought a car through the 80s and the 90s, usually it had a Chilton's manual in the trunk. So after we sold the car, we just keep them. So I got a whole bunch of Chiltons I got that way. I have a special Gmail account for my channel contacts only, and a Gmail account that I link to my channel to manage it. That's exactly the way to do it. And if you're planning on actually, making something of your YouTube channel, it's something I didn't do, and now I'm kind of scared to change it over, is make it a business account instead of a personal account. One advantage of it is you can have more than just 2 words up there for your name. I should have done that, so I could have spaced out Bare and Rose. But the biggest one of it is you can add somebody in there that can take over your account if anything happens to you. So, like in the case of, oh, there we go. Andy Wood, what's going on, man? Great to see you. You see, I'm trying to get people over to watch your new video. That was a good one. Anyway, what was I thinking? Oh, like David Bizard had his channel going, and something happened with the other guy that was actually managing all of it and doing all the editing and everything. Well, it was under a personal account for him, so he wasn't able to legally transfer it to David, who actually was doing all the work for it. So if you have a business account, you can actually set that up in case something like that happens. Great to see you, Andy. Oh, and look at here, we got somebody from across the pond. What is going on, Eric?
Hello.
How's
hear
it
me?
going over
there? Quite well.
Oh, great. Everybody,
Can you see me and hear me?
Norway.
Yes.
What is that? A Strat next to you there?
It's it is. But it's a cheap one and small one.
Oh, cool.
So it never actually goes into perfect tune.
So how you doing over there?
Well, doing a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I went under my Suburban a couple of days ago.
Way cool.
And no, it wasn't cool. It was brown. And flakes started dropping off.
Oh, no.
The frame was quite bad. Much worse than I thought.
Rotted the frame clear out of it?
Almost. No, not entirely, but in the rear end was not good.
Oh, no. You guys use a lot of salt there on the roads and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's even mixed with cheese now to make it stick better.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Some scientists found that out.
There's a lot of
So it
places
sticks.
here in the States that use beet juice.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Well,
nasty. It sticks all over the place, but it doesn't rust quite as bad as the salt did.
okay. No, it's made for sticking to the road, but it sticks to the everything on the car as well.
Oh yeah.
And the government thinks that the cars are much worse now. The brakes are changeable after 2 years and stuff. Maybe something to do with the salt. I don't know.
Could be that it'll get in there and lock calipers.
Yeah, pretty bad. 2 years old car, changed brake pads, no brake calipers in the rear.
What year is it again?
Mine
Yeah,
Suburban is 98.
98.
Yeah, but in general, cars 2 years old only must change all the brakes in the rear because of salt.
Yeah, it gets in there, just eats it right up.
Yeah, good for the environment.
It just Mother Earth wants to return it.
Yeah. So how's the weather now? I'm still in this snow blizzard.
Oh Lord, yeah, we still got a lot of snow out there, and we're supposed to get hit about another 1.5 feet.
1.5 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. So you get your tractor going.
Yeah, I broke it.
Okay.
Nothing big. I just broke the 3-point chains that hold the scraper on the back, keeps it
Okay.
from going side to side. I broke both chains off it, so I just got to fix it. I got the stuff for it. I'm just been too lazy to go out in the cold and do it.
Okay. But you have in the front.
The bucket part,
Yeah, bucket in front. Yeah. Okay.
but it's a free floater. I don't have two-way rams on it, so it just
Okay.
uses the weight to drop it.
Yeah.
Makes it a little hard to push snow.
I can see that. Well, almost everything is gone here now.
Oh, really?
Just saddle gray ground and gray trees, and everything is gray and boring.
You guys are getting into mud season. That's what we call it here. As soon as everything melts, everything turns to mud.
Yeah. It's still cold actually now, so the ground is still quite firm, but yeah. And I don't walk around in the woods too much, so I don't know.
What's this? I'd like to share with you another guy on YouTube that has a premier Pontiac guy. I'll send that along with your email. Oh, sweet, Philip. Thanks. I'll check it out. One of these days, I'm going to drag my old Pontiac out and do something with it.
Do something with it.
1940 sitting right out in front of my shop. It's kind of my lawn ornament, my decoration right now.
1940?
Yeah. It was a straight 6 car. It wasn't the Super 8.
So is it original or a hot rod or?
Well, it's going to be a hot rod.
Yeah.
The engine, the old flathead 6, I pulled it out and we took it into scrap. It was locked up. It was
okay.
Yeah. And those,
so what
you don't get parts for those, so it's a little tough to rebuild them.
So what's the replacement?
I'm going to stick probably a small block Chevy in it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to set it on a S10 frame.
Okay.
take the body off and set it down on a S10 chassis. Chevy S10.
Fits, yeah, and fits almost.
They're actually the exact same width.
Okay.
You know, your tire track is
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Hmm.
The length is a whole lot different, but I'm going to marry the frame, the front portion of it, back to where the torsion bar mounts are. I just cut it off there and marry it to the existing frame.
And keep the back part?
Yeah, and then I'll run the S10 rear end in the rear.
Okay.
That's an easy upgrade.
Yeah, and then it's easy for you, but here in Norway, that wouldn't be possible, to say it easy.
They're too strict on it for.
Yeah, you can't almost do anything. And a couple of years ago now, they got a new rule that if you even change your seats, here you can buy a cargo one specifically, and it got a divider wall behind the front seats, and also green plates and special tacks.
Wow.
But if it's 10 years old, or if it was 10 years old, you can put new seats in rear and remove the divider wall, and you can use it as a passenger car. But now it's so strict that you can't do that anymore to that kind of car. And the early ones, you need to have the frame number from the car where the seats are taken from in order to put them in your car, for example.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's why it's always amazed me, you know, the stuff that you guys can do over there with all of those regulations and everything. It's fantastic what you guys can actually get done.
I think it's easier on like your Pontiac 40 and 30 models and older stuff. But 70s and newer, it's quite regulated, yeah. And if you do too much, it's actually easier to go to Sweden and get them to approve it and take it back, import it back. That's a fact.
Yeah, in Sweden, they got a heck of a culture going on over there.
Yeah.
Hot rod culture over there. They're a lot more relaxed, huh?
Yeah, I'm not just more relaxed, but I think they actually can think themselves and decide for themselves. We either need TÜV papers from Germany or something else to to make our government decide. And actually, like my Suburban, it's just a 1500 K series. Is that 4-wheel drive?
Okay, yeah.
And when it was new, I think that and the Tahoe from the same period is 3,501 kilos. And that is 1 kilo below, over our license maximum.
Oh, really?
So our way to make them legal on a normal driver license was to mess with the rear suspension, take out one leaf, and ruin it.
Look around.
That was the solution, not just remove 1 kilo on the paper.
I know it's got some counterbalances in there too. Do they care if you pull those out?
I don't know.
Like
I don't know. It was just stupid.
Right behind the transmission crossover. there's a weight on there that it's just there to cancel vibration, to make it run smoother and drive smoother. It's pretty heavy. I wonder if
I didn't
they
think
care
they
if you take
moved.
that out.
Yeah, they didn't remove some of the springs to make it lighter. They made it not accept as much weight. That was the idea, I think.
Is it a different driver's license altogether that you have to have for a heavier vehicle?
Yeah, it's a whole other thing. It's like here you can drive a person car, you say, like regular Hondas and Toyotas and stuff, and now of course a lot of SUVs as well. And the maximum is 3,500 kilos. Any bigger than that, you need a truck license, and that is the first, yeah, and lots more courses. You need to know how to strap down every load and weight distribution and everything. And the first level is up to 7,500 kilos. And then the next level is even more complicated. And that's like big trucks.
That explains a lot.
And if you want to hook a trailer on something, you need another course to add an E after your license.
Good gravy.
Yeah.
Here it's just a CDL, but that's big semi trucks, big trucks, or school buses and stuff like that. They're different classes and classifications of a CDL.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's just regular driver's license.
So you can drive up to how many pounds?
There's no limit.
No limit. Okay.
No.
that is pretty hard to conceptualize, but okay.
And it depends on states too. Here in Idaho, you can actually have a semi and drive it legally as long as it's not for hire, as you're not using it, as a business.
I've seen a lot of trucks on YouTube that says not for hire. So
yeah, that's what they're doing, and then they register them as a motorhome. There's a lot of other stuff you got to do to them. You got to have a bathroom in them, which a lot of guys will put like a porta potty in there, and it's got to have a kitchen, so they'll put a sink in there, stuff like that. But
I wish that was the same here, and then I can buy a Peterbilt.
But if you go to California, it's totally different.
Okay.
You got to have a CDL if it's got air brakes. You got to have a CDL. Then the list goes all over for that. It depends on which state you're in here. In Texas, you have to have a CDL for a motorhome.
Oh, okay. And that's like a course too, or just?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the bottom one, but the bottom classification. So it's a pretty easy course to take and pass. It's just more money on your driver's license is all.
Yeah. Yep.
And
it's not the same all over the world.
And all that.
So what time is it at your place now?
It's looks like 4:30.
4:30. Okay.
In the afternoon.
11:30 in the night.
Oh Lord, you're rolling up on midnight hours.
Yeah. So I better be sleeping now.
Well, thanks a bunch for coming in.
Yeah, it's fun, and I wanted to do this, so I used half an hour to set up my small computer to do this, and
great.
find some earbuds and stuff.
Well, you're more than welcome in here anytime, man.
Thank you. Well, I think I'm gonna jump out of this live session and just watch for for the rest until I
No
fall asleep.
problem. No problem, man. Everybody, check out Eric at Eric's Bonnet Auto there. He's got some great stuff, and get a little peek on what's going on over there in Norway. It's pretty doggone cool.
I got to upload more soon. It's pretty dead, but some shorts once in a while.
No problem, man.
Yeah. See you.
Thanks for stopping in. That is pretty doggone cool. That has got to be the coolest part of this whole internet stuff, is you get to talk to people like that from all over the world. We can drive a fire engine with a standard Class C there in California. Sweet. You better, because everybody on that crew's got to be able to drive that truck. 6:30 over there. Yeah, I caught him. I got a complete accident, and just cool guy. I think it was a short or something. I can't remember. Just goes to show your head is universal code. Amen to that. And like I was telling him, that our hot rod brothers over there in Europe, that are all of the regulations, and Australia, New Zealand, all of the those countries, all of the government regulations that they have to squeeze around and to be able to hot rod and have fun with cars, and the stuff that they can actually do with it and still meet the regulations, just unreal. It's really cool stuff. To me, I find that even more interesting than like the Cubans, because Cubans, they just don't have it. They have to improvise and make their own. And Pakistan's another one. You watch those videos from there where they're happen to actually make the parts, and they make them do. That's pretty cool. But I've always liked the other side too, where they have to work around all of the regulations as well and still have fun. There's another group I follow on here, another YouTube channel. I should have found it earlier, but it's a group in New Zealand that they street race old cars, like 32 Fords and stuff. But they go out on the back roads, and you see them dirt racing, a lot of 100-yard dash kind of racing. And like I said, old 32 Roadsters, and it's just a cool channel. I'll find it, and I'll community page one of them. I think they do that because, well, it doesn't have to be registered for the dirt, right? If it's off-road use, or maybe they do. I don't know. It's just cool. Yep, 6:42 in the morning. Doves are hard after it here outside of the Wolverine garage. I love it. Hey, Buff, great to see you, man. I see you squirrels in there while I was a yakking away. Running dirt drag, probably 300 footer. Yeah. There used to be a club here called the Gophers. Yeah, it was the Gophers Off-Road Club that would host dirt drags here. And then we had another off-road club called Tanks. I think it was, yeah, Tanks Off-Road. They did all of the mud bogs, and they would do a few cross-country races. They go out on the desert and do a lot of that. Anyway, back in the 80s, we spent a lot of time out there doing that. Dirt drags, they're kind of interesting. They're kind of fun. Keep yapping and tappy tapping. Amen to that. Funny, I drove the front of the large tillered aerial ladders for many, many shifts, but I was not qualified to tiller the back trailer. That's complicated. On those, do you turn the way you want to turn, or is it backwards? I've often wondered that about fire engines. Here, you see a lot of guys, they'll move big center pivots, irrigation pivots, and they do the same thing. There's a guy sitting on the back. It's a crazy, most of it's all homemade contraptions, but you'll see the guy on the back steering, as you know, to make the corners and stuff. But those are a little different. You got to steer them backwards. So if you want to go this way, you turn this way. That's when farmers will be moving their sprinkler systems over to the next fields. And it's a job I would never, ever do because that guy on the back, he's pretty much sitting on a lawn chair with roller skates on the back of that thing. You see him just a bouncing. Oh, yeah, it's crazy. Things you get away with in farm country. The tiller steering is backwards. Yeah, it's weird. Even though I was an engineer, I didn't have the qual because the fireman tillered. I've sat in one and just to move it around, but never down the road, and it's confusing. Yeah, I couldn't get the hang of it. I always turn the wrong way or turn too soon. Let's see here. I seen Andy snuck in here as I was a yapping and a babbling. I would think driving in back, you would steer same direction on a smooth wide turn, but opposite direction to make sharp turns or going in reverse. Yeah, it's weird. We've had some engineers leave the barn without the tillerman. It usually didn't end well. I got to get my glasses, you know. They're out in the shop. Calling TiVo, we are listening. We are cleaning the excavator we rented for the weekend. Oh, Lord. Did you rent it on Friday? That's the secret. I don't know if it still holds true, but that used to be the secret. You rent them on Friday and they charge you for one day and you get it all weekend. Then you drop it off first thing Monday morning. Cleaning the excavator. I always wanted one of those little mini excavators, little track hose. They just look like a hoot. The bucket's only, oh, they got a real small bucket on them. Good enough to dig a trench or clean a ditch with, but they just look like a whole lot of fun. I used to help my friend's grandfather when I was a teenager. He had a cobbled up mess of a tractor. I can relate. That had other tractors. Another tractor's wide front power steering axle swapped into it on the wheel was reverse normal. I get what you're saying there. He did a lot of work backwards. We have an old Allison Chalmers that's that way, an old WD-40 that somebody had put a forklift on. They stuck it on the back. Well, they took the seat and they mounted it backwards and then rolled the steering wheel up front. So, but they didn't do what you're talking about there. It was just like I was explaining with the tiller and everything. So to drive that forklift around, it's actually a cobbled together, really rough old tractor. Yeah, it's the same way. To go this way, you got to turn this way because it's backwards. Dad used that for a while as an off-road forklift that we could, back when he had the towing business, we get a lot of abandoned cars, junk cars, and he also did free junk car removal. So we used to use that old forklift to, well, he'd run over, we'd strip the cars, clear down to nothing, and then you'd run them over with the monster truck, and then we'd pick them up with that forklift and load them on a trailer so we could stack about 4 or 5 cars and then take them to the recycling center. But it was awful slow because you only got one gear going, forward. You got 4 gears going backwards, but so it made it kind of a pain driving it around. Anyway, good Lord, I get to rambling and bambling. Renting Saturday, return on Monday. Steering, imagine all the stuff I get with that. I hates that tractor. But boy, I'll tell you what, that has got to be the handiest tools I own, are both of my little tractors there. That old backhoe that I built and the little Massey I got out there. Moving this stuff around, moving heavy stuff. Oh, you can't beat them. The backhoe, I kind of fell into that one. The bucket and the hoe part, I traded a 52, 53 DeSoto for that. Actually, the whole tractor, but I never did go back and get the rest of the tractor. It was blowed up. Had a hole in the block about like that. And he'd run it out of oil is what happened, and it threw the rod right outside the block, destroyed it. But anyway, I traded him that car. It was, the body on it was in good shape, but it was a 4-door. Wasn't the suicide door. It was a regular 4-door. Didn't have no grill in the front. And that's what killed it for me. I didn't want a 4-door. And the DeSoto, yeah. And it was just a flat 6 car. It wasn't a Hemi car or anything. So I went ahead and I traded that to him for that bucket and, well, actually the whole International backhoe. And then I went up to our heavy equipment junkyard here in town, and I bought the tractor part of that backhoe. I bought it and a 1950 Ford dump truck for $700 for those two. And then I brought the tractor home, and then I welded all of the backhoe stuff onto it. And that's how I got my backhoe. And that DeSoto I got for $100. So actually it cost me more in fluid, hydraulic fluid, oil, all of that stuff, because I serviced the tractor 100% and busted a few lines. And it's $100 for every hydraulic hose you break on a backhoe. And I had a few of them. Anyway, long story short, I got more into parts on that than I did on buying the whole thing. And then I spent a good 4 days solid welding on it. Woof. Anyway, good Lord, I get to rambling and bambling. Dutch Guy's Garage. What's going on, man? Thanks for swinging in. As long as it isn't any slower. B&R Racing. Good to see you, my friend. Midnight Auto Repair. Another great channel and a great guy. Hey, just wanted to pop in and say hi to everyone before I pop into Functional Histories to see his creation on my Corvair. Sweet. Is he doing a live right now? If so, one of my mods, go ahead and post up his live there. But great to see you, Midnight. That's why I'm not worried one bit. If anybody, wants to do a live and it happens to be at the same time as my live, that's no problem. People tend to swap back and forth, from time to time. And it all just keeps it all going and spreads the wealth out to everybody. Twisted Mopar, good to see you, man. I just got home. I missed out on all the good stuff. All the good stuff was last night on Buck Does It's Live. Like I said, my sides hurt. Oh, my sides are sore from laughing. He had one heck of a funny live. No problem, Philip. I'm still here. And like I said, I got the link pinned up there on in the chat section. And you guys want to pop on in? Go ahead and pop on in. $162 projects. What's going on, man? Good to see you. I see you're still working out in the shop, getting the shop together. That's pretty good stuff. That pipe anvil, that's pretty cool. If any guys are interested on how to make a pipe anvil for sheet metal fabrication and that, check out 162 projects there. I kind of adjusted after some years on YouTube as my TV. Me too. But I still notice when they say it was only a 6-cylinder, only 90% of the cars here is your only 4. Yeah, here in the States, 4 cylinders really didn't, well, unless you count the Volkswagen Bug, 4 cylinders really didn't start to hit hard until the 80s. I would say the 80s is when they really came into being. 70s, there was, plenty of them, but that was kind of the beginning. And then in the 80s, that's when people actually started doing a whole lot with the 4s. I am learning more from you about social millennia. I like that better. Social millennia. Than I've learned in the past 2 years. Oh, and it was a rough go for me trying to figure this stuff out. And I still ain't got it all figured out. But again, a big old shout out to Buzz at Roadkill Customs for helping me and helping all of us at the No Name Nationals at simple little advice things that just made a world of difference. Oh, I got behind here. There we go. The chat, every time I click on one like that, it freezes the chat. And then I get to talking and oh, I got to catch up again. And I just scroll and get it all going again. Vapor honing cleans the finish at the same time. Cool. LP, the holder of the shoe goo. Does that mean he's got a gooey shoe? Even my face hurts. Good Lord, that was a good live last night. I have a piece of railroad tie, or not railroad tie, rail, 18 inches long, that I began to make a small anvil out of. They work really good for that. They got a nice crown in them too. Especially take a little time and round over where you cut it, round that off a little, get kind of a ball edge on there. You can do some amazing stuff with them. Especially with an air chisel, air hammer. You get the plenishing bits for them. And then lean into it, hold your sheet metal down good and heavy on it, lean into it, just about like having a plenishing hammer. But it's a little hard to control. You got to practice a little on it before you go all out. I need to jump in one of BareRose's live soon, huh? It's been a little while, JB. That is one thing I noticed about when I changed my time slot from Saturday to Sundays. Yeah, people don't tend to come in as much on at this time period. That's all right. Railroad anvils get you by, but once you've hammered on a real anvil, you'll know there's no comparison. Amen to that. But good night. They want a whole bunch of money for a real anvil now. Especially since people started using them for like decoration and stuff like that. The price just, I mean, it was already high and price just shot up even more when people started doing that. I blame that on all those home renovation channels, and they get those interior decorators and stuff. Boy, they put a lot of hype on anvils. And it was Mohawk. It sure was. I think ranting is just what YouTubers do. There's a lot of rant channels. And then you go to the next step and you got a lot of troll channels too. I've got a couple of rant videos up, but I think they're kind of pale and mild compared to everything out there. You pay for quality in anvils. The higher the ring, the better the steel. To ring an anvil, swat on the side, not the work face. If it says thud, it's junk. Like testing a crankshaft. You take a wrench and tap on the counterweights. One of these days, I got to do that. I got my guitar tuner. I'm going to set it up. It'll do acoustic or, electric. It just picks up the frequency. But I always wanted to know what tone, what note is a steel crank and what tone and note is just a cast crank. Because you can definitely hear the difference. GM Pontiac made one of the most powerful 4-cylinders in the 80s, but it was only over the parts counter racing program. Pontiac Super Duty Iron Duke never caught on, just road racers and a few rails. Yeah. Here, and especially during the 80s, it was V8s are so easy to get a hold of. It's hard to justify putting the cost into a 4-cylinder through that time period. And if you wanted to go on the cheap side, well, the Volkswagen Beetle, that little flat, air-cooled little engine, of all the engines out there, I think it's because they had so little horsepower to begin with and so little torque that all you got to do is just make little changes to that little engine. And good Lord, you feel it. You feel it hardcore. So it feels like you're doing a whole lot. Now, what's going on? My camera won't focus now. There it goes. An anvil doubles your hammer strike, so you get 2 for 1. You want a real anvil? I sure do too. My uncle got my great-grandpa's anvil, which he should. It was his oldest and only son, so it went to the right place, but I'd sure like to have it. A railroad rail is the poor man's anvil. We've made quite a few of them. Let's see, get caught back up here. Iron Duke 2.5 made 350 horsepower in Legends cars. Imagine that in your Monza. Yeah, just like everything, once they catch on, then they get expensive. But really speaking, comparing them, to everything else, they've gotten more money. Everything costs more money, but they're still actually a little on the lower end of it too. And boy, oh boy, the things you can do with them. But then again, they're like a small block Chevy. No matter what you do to a little Volkswagen engine, you can't really do anything original to it because it's been done so many times. Auto Salvage Outlaws has just gone to bed. He's behaving himself. Yeah, I just got off the phone with him before the live here. Wishing you the best there, ASO. Keep your chin up, keep your spirits high. And to add to the 4 versus V8 discussion, the gas prices. That's the reason I sold my Toyota RAV4. I had one of the first generation RAV4s. I only owned it for about a month and a half, and I took it back. Uh, that thing, it was all-wheel drive, but what I run freeway all the time. Most 90% of all of our driving is on the freeway, on the highway, on the open road. That little RAV4 with the 4-cylinder in it, because it didn't have enough power to hold overdrive, actually got the same mileage as a V8. So I, and it had the horsepower of a Shetland pony. It was little, so I got rid of that thing. Went back to a V8. Now in town, it would walk all over the V8 mileage wise, but out on the freeway, it was horrible. And again, that was a first generation Toyota RAV4. Now, if it would have been a standard transmission one, it was an automatic, it might have been different. The cheap sleeper of 4 cylinders is the PT Cruiser engine. You can get one to make 400 horse. That's quite a few ponies under there. BMW got all the credit for the most powerful 4-cylinder, normally aspirated, because it was a production engine. The other guy is Sticky Imposter. Yeah, my stepbrother had one of those little neons. Or no, it was the Plymouth Laser, but the exact same thing as the neon. And it had that in there. It was a pretty quick little car. Talking about the anvils made me want to pull mine out from the cobwebs. on the bench now cleaning them up. Oh, sweet. RAV4 was diesel here until the hybrid took over. Really? I don't think we got any diesel ones here in the States. If so, they're extremely rare. $400 ponies without a turbo. I know we took a 2.3. Oh, Lord. We milled and decked that thing down so far as we possibly could. I'd have to ask Dad what the compression ratio was on it. But, and then ported the heads. Oh, Lord. Alden at Performance Machine, he put a lot of work into that head. And then stuck 4 Mikuni carburetors on it. 30. I'd have to ask Dad again for the details on that one. But that little thing would move. Little naturally aspirated 2.3 little Pinto engine. But the drawback of it was if that timing belt slipped one tooth, it would blow the head. It would bend every single valve it had and then ask for more and bend them. We had that in a sandrail, a mid-engine sandrail. When you take and you flip it around backwards so you mount the engine in pointing forward. That thing would fly. We called it Pink Passion. It was scary fast. It was faster than my rotary powered one. That's what my sandrail was a RX4. The 2nd gen rotary. Mazda rotary. It was the one with the single carb. That little thing, that's the only time I've ever lifted front tires was in that. And it was a front engine sandrail. It was the strangest looking thing. Sometime when I can figure out how to transfer video, my dad has a DVD that he took all of the old VHS home movies and transferred them onto there. And I've got some video of my sandrail. It was called Babe, because we painted it blue and it kind of looked like an old blue mule, so we called it Babe. I got that in there and his other 2 sandrails. Pink Passion, which is the one with the 2.3 in it, and then Plum Crazy, which was a Corvair powered one. But sometime I'll figure out how to get those and I'll make a collaboration video of them. The hard part is he's got 4 of those DVDs. I think there's 4 of them. And it's got all of his old slides, because my dad used to be a shutterbug big time. So he's got all kinds of, stuff that goes clear back to Vietnam when he was over in Vietnam. All the way through the 70s and 80s, all the car shows we went to, playing around in the sand dunes and racing, and oh Lord. Sometime I'll dig through and I'll find a way I can make transfer those and make a video out of. But like I was trying to say before I got all squirrel, none of it's in order. So you'll be watching something from 1989, and then all of a sudden you'll see a Super 8 from 1962, or not 62, but like 68. And then the next one will be a car show from the 90s, and then the next slide will be from the 70s. It's kind of crazy. It'd take me a while to trying to put it in order. Oh man, antifreeze on the floor. Oh, that is the worst of the worst. Trying to clean up antifreeze off of concrete is like trying to clean up a spilt egg. Oh, I feel for you, Dutch. I like the idea of turning a PT Cruiser and turning it into a Willys, huh? Oh, look, we got somebody else coming on in here. Landon Custom, what's going on, man?
Sun's out, guns out.
What are you doing? No sleeves?
Somehow I got my YouTube's playing in the background.
Looks like you're in the 68. Oh, we lost him there. He's been doing body work on it, so that's why he's got the panels off. Hopefully he'll come back in. There's quite a few real mean, naturally aspirated 4-cylinders in the Europe rally. I remember being a spectator, and it almost felt like pain when they passed. Sweet. There you go. Now you're back.
Yeah, I had my YouTube coming through in the background there. I had to fix it. Yeah, I just got done putting new plugs, wires, Pertronics ignition, all that fun stuff in here. Runs a whole hell of a lot better.
Have you got your goodie bag yet?
No, it'll be sometime this week. I hopefully have everything by Friday.
Sweet.
But she has a lot more spunk now. And it sounds a whole lot nicer. There was a pretty good little burnout.
Oh, that's why you got no sleeves. You're down in Mexico, ain't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I just was taking it for a test drive. I'm like, I'll bet BareRose is live, and I'm missing it.
Oh, sweet. Oh, I was going to tell you, watch your brake lights. When you left my driveway yesterday, your brake lights didn't come on. But when you came down off the railroad tracks, they came on right as you came to a full stop.
Yeah, probably got some little gremlins in here still.
Probably schmutz on the pressure sensor.
Yeah. Yeah, my brake lights started coming on in here sometimes too.
Is it?
But I have good brakes though.
It's just dirty on that pressure sensor.
Yeah.
I hate
might have
them.
to throw some new ones in or something.
I'll bring it by. I think I got one out. I got a 1-wire out in the back, out in the where I keep all my nuts and bolts. It's on the far side, the second shelf down. There's a bucket there with a couple of them in it.
Yeah, this thing had all the same distributor stuff as my 390, so I robbed a vacuum advance off my other 390. out in my field, and then I got everything all hooked up now. So I bypassed the vacuum advance, so now it's a whole lot better. Yeah, I'll have to come see you when I get back from Mexico.
Nothing sounds better. Well, nothing is better than a 385 series Ford. Nothing sounds better than an FE or a Y block.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept getting little misses and stuff in it, and I'm sure it was probably the points needing cleaned and all the different stuff, but the Pertronics will give her a little extra kick anyway, so.
And you took the points and the condenser and threw them in the jockey box, right?
Yeah, I got them with me.
Yeah.
Yep. Things do happen.
That's the best thing to do with those Pertronics. Always keep the points and the condenser in your jockey box for an emergency. But if you hook them upright and pair them upright, they last forever.
And the thing that got me is my coil on this had 12 volts. I had full voltage to it.
That one's internal ballast.
Okay, I got you. Wasn't sure, so.
Is it an electronic one though?
What, my coil?
Coil. Yeah.
I don't know. Just looked like every other old coil. Yeah, I went over checking all your voltages, making sure you got your 12 volts to your Pertronics, so you don't burn it up and all that good stuff. I had to run new wires and stuff for my 62. Because it dropped it down to like 8 volts, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It runs through the ballast resistor and knocks it to 8.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm out here cruising around for a bit. I did some good videoing today, so hopefully next couple weeks I'll have some real good videos to come.
Sweet.
So
yeah, when you get that new toy in, you'll have to bring it over to the shop.
Yeah, we'll have to play with the new tech.
Stick it on.
Yeah, I'll bring stuff over and we'll look it all over good.
Sweet.
Yeah. Be nice to get a look at that stuff, so. Like say that video that Unity Motorsports did, that was a heck of a video on the Edelbrock.
The amount of time they put in putting them together, assembling them, and all, they check everything as they go and look it over real good. That sold me.
Yeah, it's good to see businesses that still do stuff here in the USA and not just punching it through a machine, mass producing everything.
Exactly.
So they still care.
The human eye will catch little things like that, and it won't let shavings fall down inside of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a lot of these eBay 4150 or Amazon 4150 carbs, all the aftermarkets. Well, they got the Edelbrock style ones too, but yeah, they were saying that there's paint inside of them that comes off. There's like pieces of metal, all kinds of stuff, because they're just pumping them through factories in China.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you got to realize when you see a Holley carburetor, it costs $1,200 for 100. I mean, there's something going on there.
Quality control is a rarity today. Boy, that speaks volumes, Hubie.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm almost home, and then I can get out of this sucker. Probably a little loud. And do a burnout in front of the bishop's house.
Why are you going to Mexico? Well, Mexico's not too far from here.
Because Mexico, you can do whatever you want on the roads. There in Cuba's good too. I know Jeff Two Hacks. He goes to Cuba, but Mexico's closer for us. Yeah, it's sunny and warm out here today, so.
Except for here, you go to Mexico and you see all the cops out there racing too. They go out there to try theirs out too.
It's all fun and games until one of the cops hits somebody and kills them.
Oh Lord, that's what you was telling me while I was gone in California.
Yeah, one of the female deputies. Still haven't seen all the facts, but they say she was probably doing 80, 85 when she hit the old man head on. So, a hell of a crash.
I didn't see the aftermath of it though. I just heard from you what it was all about.
Yeah, I haven't seen the cars, but hit somebody in a 3/4 ton pickup hard enough to kill him. He was moving.
Yeah.
The old man, he probably wasn't doing 20 mile an hour, so they just kind of cruise around out there. So,
Gotta run, guys. The machine needs attention. Uh-oh. Everyone have a great weekend.
Well, made
Good
it
to
home
see
from
you, JD.
Mexico, so.
Now you got to put your parka on because it's cold up here in Idaho.
Yeah. back to the snow.
Yeah, oh Lord.
Yeah, I've been out here probably 3-4 hours working on my car like this.
I didn't see Andy's video yesterday, but I seen Andy. Does that count? I'd say that counts double.
Yeah. So I might get on my computer here in a minute.
We can drive there instead of floating there.
Hubie's real close to Mexico. Well, I'm gonna hop
It's
down off
actually
here and get my
pretty
computer
warm out.
going.
No
Yeah.
problem, Cousin Mike. Good seeing
We'll
you.
see you. I'll be in the chat. See you.
Yeah, in fact, it's well, it's starting to cool off again now. It's back down to about 42. It's kind of spooky though. If you go into my shop right now, you got to be real careful, especially coming out of the when you come out of the shop and close the door. I got huge ice sheets coming off the shop, and yeah, I stand clear as soon as the door closes. This year, I got to get an awning put up. What I need to do is go out to Walt's and find, he's got a couple of old early 50s international pickups out there, and they're nice and square in the front. By square, I mean I take the whole front clip and the hood and everything, and it's almost straight across from the front fenders and the hood all the way across. Well, I'm going to take and cut it, and I'm going to stick it over my walk-in door on my shop and use it as an awning, and then wire the headlights up for yard lights. I've seen that done with quite a few guys have done that. Wayland's Iron out there in Washington, he's got a great channel. He's got them over his windows in his shop. Just old front ends of cars. But I only need the front piece of it, because if I get the whole truck, then I'll have to build a truck. That's the problem. I got a few of them out here that probably would work, but the problem is I got the rest of the car too, or the rest of the truck. So squares in square body? Oh, heck no. I'd never put a square body up on there, though. That's too new for me. Now, but on most of them, the hood where it meets the cowl, V's. On those old Internationals, Dodges do it too, but Walt ain't got any of those Dodges out there. The hood comes up to the cowl and it's straight square across, and it's square to the front fenders. So that way, when I stick it up again and mount it to the side of the shop over the man door, it's all sealed. A Series 4 or Series 5 Chevy had worked too. In fact, I got a 69, that'd be a Series 5 Chevy. But problem is I got the cab too, so I can't do that. And I did think about using my square body for it, but again, that's too new. My 80, what is that, 88, 89, 1 ton out there. You can tell how much I care about that truck. I don't even know what year it is. It's the very last of the square bodies. And in fact, the pickup version was an OBS, the old body style that they call it. It's actually the one that replaced the square body. But it's a it's a big 1 ton. So they came as still the old square bodies on them. I think it's 89. Now that I don't have a horse to worry about, I'm thinking about turning that truck into a car hauler. It's got a 13-foot flatbed on it anyway, and the extended wheelbase. So that one would actually be pretty easy to turn into a car hauler. But to do it, like I said, that's too new for me. So I'll pull that cab and that front end off of it, and I'll put my 69 cab and 69 front end on it. Then if anybody wants a square body with the title even, I'll sell you that on the super cheap. It's just the cab and the nose. That's all it is, though. I helped my buddy use a 52 pickup hood as an awning over the entry door of his shop. Sweet. Yeah, the same idea right there. Yeah, I got a 53 sitting out back. Well, I got a 53 Chevy sitting out back, and a 52 or 51. I'd have to check the speedometer. That's the only way you can tell the difference between a 52 and a 53. At my dad's place, and if things work out, I'll have a 54. Same body style. I think it's a 54. It's either a 54 or 55, but it's the Series 1, still the rounded cab. It's not the tri-fi style. They crossed over quite slowly, didn't they? Suburbans changed in 93. Cousin Mike, who was just on here, he's got 3 of those Suburbans sitting out in his back pasture. around here, Suburbans are everywhere. Oh, Lord. Did you guys hear that on the mic? Yep. All that ice and snow just slid off my shop again. Great big kapud. Yeah, the wonderful weather in March. Good gravy. It gets down in the single digits at night, and then, like I was saying, it's 42 degrees right now. So everything freezes, rock solid, and then by about 1, 2 o'clock, mud, and everything's melting and sliding off. I got too much crap in my back pasture. I got a Volare front clip for an awning for a new shop. Sweet. That actually fits for you. Let's see. Well, I have to go. It's starting to get dark here in Florida. And both me and the cats are getting hungry. Good night, y'all. Thanks a million for stopping in, Philip. It's always great having you. And keep them videos a coming. And with all of yous, you know, if you want any channel advice, a little help on how to get things going or anything like that, don't be afraid to reach out. Or if you want to come on the lives here that I do every Sunday, pop in and I'll do anything and everything I possibly can to help you. Little tips and advice and just little tweaks that Buzz over at Roadkill showed me how to do that just makes a world of difference on how to get this YouTube machine, the algorithm, to actually figure out where you are and who you are, so it'll push your videos out for everybody. You actually start getting you some views, subscribers, all that stuff. Talking about snow, yesterday we were boiling maple syrup, and today we have 40 inches snow. Holy cow. You're up in, I'm just up Maine, New Brunswick, Canada. Oh, sweet. Yeah, we're supposed to be getting it next week. They're saying Tuesday or Wednesday. They're saying 1.5 to 2 feet. I don't know how much we're going to get, but oh, Lord. It's coming to hit Idaho just as like it's going to hit you guys. Hang in there, man. Oh, 40 centimeters. Oh, okay. I still ain't quite figured out all that metric conversion. When did Canada switch to the metric system? If I remember right, it was in the 70s, wasn't it? Seems like you have more chances in temperature than more change in temperature than us. I watch Casey Ladle in Oregon. Snow's changing every night and day. Yep. Depending on what part of Oregon he is in, yeah, definitely. Eastern Oregon is a lot like it is right here in Idaho. Western Oregon, right along the coast, yeah, it's a little different. The mountains kind of play a big role in it. And the reason we're like this is because we're high. We're really high in altitude. We're about 6,000 square feet, 6,000 feet above sea level. So we're up here where the air is pretty thin. And I'm down in the valley where it's actually low where I'm at. And you go anywhere around me, and yeah, it gets pretty brutal. That's also why a lot of people don't run Hollies here. Edelbrocks really, really rule the roost here in this part of Idaho because of all the mountains around us. You're constantly going like this and like this, and Hollies don't like this. Not because of the altitude. You can tune them for any altitude. It's the going up steep hills and mountain passes. Teton Pass, oh, that drops you right down into Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Yeah, that's a brutal pass. I'm at 6 feet above sea level. I heard a rumor in Florida it's against the law to kick a rock because they were tired of moving the highest elevation sign around. Late 70, I think. Yeah, I know it was actually pretty late that Canada actually had fully adopted the metric system. I can't remember when they tried to mandate the metric system here in the States back then and the pushback it created. We still had to learn it in school, though. It's actually a really easy, except for Celsius. Celsius, I never understood the scientific reason behind that. But the metric system is actually pretty easy. You just move the decimal point. And it's kind of funny. Our monetary system, the U.S. dollar, is based on the metric system. Makes it really easy. Then you got places like the UK. Their monetary system is freaking weird. 6,000 feet, and you're at. I'm right by Yellowstone National Park, over in southeast Idaho. It's hard to. Our mountains, they're just barely west of me or east of me here. They like to hide. But you'll see the Rockies right behind me. And where I'm at, it drops down into the Snake River Valley, and it's all nothing but lava rock desert west of me. All high plains desert, all the way to the Sawtooth Range, and then you get into some real serious mountains over there. That's where my sister and my little nephew is at. Here I am on sea level. I can actually see the ocean from my house. Sweet. 33.3 inches is a meter. Rock. We don't have rocks. It is illegal to remove a rack. Drilling for and couldn't hit rock. I have a good friend we call Captain Mike. I worked with him at the sporting goods wholesale place back in the 90s. We called him Captain Mike. He was from Deer Lodge, Florida, over by Fort Lauderdale. But he run a fishing boat out there and had his captain's license. And then he moved out here to Idaho. In fact, once a year, he would have to fly back to Florida and take a charter out in order to keep his captain's license. But he's the one that told me that. He also told me, you guys go fishing for alligators. Metric system works perfectly until you have to try to convert it. Yep. Or the horror years, the major horror years that make mechanics just tremble. Prime example is that square body out there. Back when they had metric here and standard here. Oh, Lord. Metric and standard on the same thing. Ugh. A power steering bracket would have metric bolts on it, but the bolts to bolt it into the block were standard. Yeah, go figure that one out. Just pick one. Reminds me of my old MGB. It had British standard, or I guess they call it Imperial standard. All the body bolts, anything to do with the body on that little MG was British standard. So they have their own half inch. It's not an American, SAE standard half inch. It's Imperial, or as we called it, British standard. So you had to buy special wrenches to do the body, and then, or most of it you could kind of get a American standard to work, and their own thread pitches. Ugh. But the engine was all standard, American standard. Yeah, that was crazy. You would think, being British, it would be metric on the engine, but it wasn't. And then come to find out, it was because they were using old Massey Ferguson blocks, and the MG was made for the American market. Very few of them actually stayed over there in England. 90% of them they sent over here, so they kind of made it simpler for us, I guess. I found out that it was a Massey Ferguson block when I needed a distributor for it. And I looked all over and finally found an old boy at Napa, because, well, Napa Auto Parts, they're generally pretty good. And he cross-referenced it out, and come to find out, yeah, it's all the same distributor you'd put in a gas-powered Massey Ferguson tractor. The same block, a lot of stuff crossed over. But then mine didn't have the Lucas carbs on it, though. That was the number one way to get an MG to run, is you pull that stupid Lucas carb system off of it, close your eyes, turn around 6 times, and throw it so you'll never know where it lands, and just get rid of that thing. And it had the dual Webers on it. And the header, it had a little header on it with the dual 4s on it, or dual 4s. No, it wasn't that big. I think they were 3236s. Little Weber carburetors. Boy, that thing ran good. But that's how I lost that car too. Ada County here in Idaho, that's where Boise is, our capital. It's the only county that you have to do emission checks, emission tests. All the other counties you don't have to do that in. But because my little MG had those carbs on it and a header, they wouldn't, it wasn't stock, they wouldn't emission test it. So if you don't emission test it, you can't register it. So I ended up losing the car for that. I had to sell it because I couldn't register it, so I couldn't drive it, and it pissed me off. And 9 years was too long to live in that county. I could not wait to get out of that county. Went over there to sell firearms and sporting goods. Other than that, I really like Boise. Boise's a nice place as far as big cities go. Of course, I spent all my time down on the greenbelt with the fishing pole, so nice thing about the Boise River runs right through Boise. And they stock the crap out of that river with salmon, steelhead, trout. You name it, you can catch it there in the Boise. And there's ponds everywhere, especially in Garden City. Garden City is right in the middle of Boise. What it is it's Chinatown. It used to be Chinatown back in the 1800s and all of that, how it got its name, Garden City, because of all the Asian gardens that were around. But all of those old rice paddies and stuff that they had there, they just turned them into ponds. And then there's mountains of bluegill, crappie, largemouth, smallmouth bass, all over in all of those ponds and little mini lakes all through, dotted all the way through Boise. And they're all public access. So if you're into fishing, Boise is the place to be. But you got to be very, very careful of being down on the greenbelt at night. And it has to do with if you ever have a headlamp and you're walking down through the greenbelt, it's a section that the Boise River is pretty much off limits for building, pretty much, but they're starting to get to where they build all the way over to it. But anyway, it's kind of an open public area that's just trees, and you can go down there and you don't even see the city, which I thought was really cool. But at night, if you have a headlamp and you look around, you'll see thousands of little glowing little flashing lights coming back at you. That's all the dang feral cats that people turn loose down on that greenbelt. Well, the bad thing about that is you got the Lucky Peak Range right behind Boise, and the Lucky Peak Range in that whole area, that fish and game section, is also the world record, or not world record, but at least state record for black bear and mountain lion. Yeah, you got to be real careful at night coming down out of there, because the mountain lion love to come down into there, and they feed off of all those feral cats that people have turned loose. More than a few times I've come across a cougar down there, and it's not the modern kind of cougar that you find at a nightclub. It's the one that Yeah, it really chews on your backside. Fish and Game is always down there chasing them off and trying to round them up. It's kind of funny. The Fish and Game headquarters for Idaho is almost downtown, and it's, again, real close to the Greenbelt. And there's an elementary school right next to the Fish and Game headquarters. Every single year, that elementary gets closed down for black bear that are playing in the playground. New Guy's Guitar, what's going on, brother man? Good to see you. But like I said, that part, being on the Boise River, being able to go fishing for whatever you want to go fishing for, all the time, anytime, that was a good side of Boise. The emission check, that's the one that got me. That's why I'll never go back. And they made me sell my MG. So yeah, that left a bad taste. But anything else to do with the outdoors, they have indoor shooting ranges all over in there. There's like 4, 5 public ranges there. Archery ranges, they have 2 of them. One of them is a very, very good archery range. And while I was there, I got heavy involved with Fish and Game on the hunter's education part. And I got to where I was helping set up and helping teach for bow hunters education, and we'd go out and do the field tests with a new group of hunters ed kids and adults. In fact, the archery education, the bow hunters education course, most of that was adults. But I got heavy into that, and it's also where I got into really heavy into archery. And I still got all my archery stuff, but used to travel around. I was shooting. I was sponsored by AR, but it archery research. It's the upper end of PSI. Another bow company, but AR was like their next division up. I shot 3D though, no targets. When they take those foam animals, they're life-sized animals, and they stick them all over on the trail course, and you go around and yeah, shoot them, and then everybody at the end you tally up your points, and whoever wins wins. I got pretty heavy involved in that while I was down there. And guide hunting. I got in real heavy with guide hunting for people. Took a lot of elderly and crippled people out. Set them up, I'd do all the calling for them and get them on the elk. And antelope is what I really like doing though. Pronghorn. And black powder. Oh Lord. I used to teach and guide for that too. Muzzleloader. But that was all a lifetime ago. Now I just play with cars. Here, we don't have emission control, but the province law wants us to pass safety inspections every 2 years. It used to be every year, but I guess they finally fixed the roads so it didn't ruin the car. Here, they tried that back in the 70s. By the early 80s, they did away with it. They found out it cost the state too much to do all of that stuff, the safety inspections. And well, back then you just found a shop that would just, we called them lick 'em stickets. You just take your car in there, you pay the fee, and they would look it over and slap the sticker on the windshield, and off you went. But the state finally said, this is costing us money. We were supposed to make money off this, so they did away with it. And I think it was before the mid 80s. But every once in a while, you'll find an old car around here in Idaho that's still got the sticker, the safety inspection sticker on it. My 58 my 58 Meteor Raidu 500, the 500 Canada version, huh? Raido? Raido? I never heard of that. Yeah, you Canadians got all kinds of cool stuff up there. But yeah, it's probably the exact same thing as the Fairlane 500. Yeah, it's simple, all right. 9/16 bolts all around. Yep, 9 bolts hold the front of the body. And the tricky ones are those dang ones that they put in this way. They're studs on the fenders. All of those old cars, if you go to find one in the junkyard, you'll see dimples where people have forgot those 2 studs that go through the A-pillar. And like I said, yeah, it is a 9/16. It's just a nut. You pull the kick panel off, and there's an access hole right there. You just roll in and hope and pray that it comes out. It doesn't strip, because if it strips, it just spins the stud. Then things get complicated. There's 1, 2, the 2 on the bottom, fenders that go up like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 9 bolts. And then the one big one that goes up through and holds the core support. Take all of those out, and that whole nose comes right off. And makes pulling the engine, doing any kind of engine work on them, such a breeze. Especially on a 59, because the 59's got those wider fenders on it. Trying to reach over them fenders. That is one cool car, though, the 58. As you can tell, I'm kind of partial to them. I was born in 84, and they knew nobody was safe after that. That's what did it right there. You see, you should have been born in Ada County. They would have done away with that emission stuff at the same time. Let's see what we got here. We've been going for about 2 hours. I think we'll go ahead and close her up for this week. Depending on what the weather does for next week, I'm still pushing and trying. I'm going to try to get set back up out in the shop again, and we'll do these lives from the shop again. In the meantime, looks like Uncle Tony has gone live. If anybody wants to hop on over to his channel, go ahead and hop on over. Right as I close my lives out, I always go over and I check my little subscription column there, and I look for who's live. It looks like Uncle Tony Honest Peyton. Honest Peyton is doing a Honest Peyton's Speed Shop. Good Lord, that's hard to say. He's got a premiere going. And, oh, Lord, I can't forget about DIY Auto. Looks like he's live right now, too, over my good friend, my friend Pete. Any of those guys, you want to hop on over, check out theirs, and see what they got going on? In the meantime, I think I'll wrap this up for this week. Thanks a million, everybody, for coming on in. Eric, that was so cool to see you come in, man. You made my whole week. And everybody, get out there and keep the metal hot. And we'll see you all again next week. Hopefully, when I got a little grease on my... Look at this. My shirts have never been so white. Things are wrong. Things are just wrong. I got to get out there and get busy. Thanks again, and we'll see y'all next week.